2024. Today is Thursday, and the time is 2 minutes past the hour of 7. It's time for newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we are going to take you through the news, making the headlines on that. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
Do you know that you have the right to quality broadcasting? The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that the complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
Newspaper, Leadership, Vanguard, Punch, Sun, Daily Post, The Nation. This day, and if time permits, we're also going to take a look at Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can Wike insists on May 29 delivery date for Abuja Lightwear. National Association of Nigerian Students seeks a rescue of Ekiti pupils, teachers. Ibadan explosion. Makinde signs executive order on handling, storage of harmful substances. 3. Napped for swindling. Police unveil cybercrime decks. 3. Napped for swindling students as police unveil cybercrime decks. CBN frantically tightens noose on banks, FX operations, speculators. Police arrest suspected kidnappers, armed robbers, others in Taraba. $1.3 billion ExxonMobil Seplat divestment, 98% completed. Only Ondo NDDC representative upbraids Ayedatiwa over stakeholders meeting. Monarchs killing. Oni George call for community policing. Input of ex-service chiefs. Drug abuse. Youth Ministry partners National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on awareness. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Northern groups tackle Tinubu over withdrawal of 3 nations from ECOWAS. Tinubu decries labeling of Nigerians as cyber criminals. Reps explain why they are at peace with the executive arm. Man sentenced to death by hanging for armed robbery. Poor preparation. Logistics store student loan scheme. Lagos government says only 24% of 2024 budget meant for infrastructure. Lagos government says only 24% of 2024 budget meant for infrastructure. Women protesters in Nasarawa to pay 500,000 naira bail after 12 days incarceration. EFCC secures conviction of 17 internet fraudsters. Southwest seeks partnership with NADF, others to enhance agriculture. Imo Assembly urges Uzodinma to recover parliamentary buildings. Average Nigerian needs 789 naira to eat healthy diets daily, says MBS. Nigeria, UK, more working group on mining. NEMA, UNDRR, others deepen synergy to reduce disaster risk. NIN SIM leakage deadline remains 27 days as subscribers floods telecos outlets. Navy destroys 3 illegal refining sites in Bayelsa. Leeds City University appoints deputy registrar. Nigerians facing depression over biting economy. Maritime industry eulogize late Akinsuji. Ban on styrofoam. Pioneer Waste Masters advocates recycling as ultimate solution. Banditry. Kebbi. Others launch Zamfara Community Protection Guards. Alleged diversion of 280 million naira. Delta suspends Agric Commissioner, Chief Accountant, others. Stakeholders seek alignment of gender, climate change in agric policies. That's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. From the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to Leadership newspaper. Governor Yahya demands accountability from Gombe United management. Kidnapping, bad roads, crippling our operations. Oil exporters lament. AFCON 2023 supporters club rallies support for Eagles against Angola. REA NEP signs grant agreement to fast track off-grid power generation in Jigawa, Nasarawa. Multi-Choice unveils Talent Factory West Africa 2024 class. Lekki Gardens maintains BBB plus rating. Pension fundings. Pension funds stock market investment rises by 588 billion naira. Fire service 7 days to refund 1.48 billion naira COVID-19 fund. Historical data NGX all share. NMPC woos South Korean investors for gas projects. Insurance NGO seeks exemption of NICOM from 50% IGR reduction. Insurance NGO seeks exemption of NICOM from 50% IGR deduction. Otedola becomes FBN Holdings chairman. Reform AMCON group tells Tinubu federal government allays fear of defective third. Reform AMCON group tells Tinubu federal government allays fear of defective third mainland bridge. Others. FCT ministry not bet right of north. Group replies weakest critics. Arawa think tank. Others fault opposition to Tinubu's economic policies. Expert recommends AI solutions for Nigeria's challenges. Wike vows to complete major FCT projects before May 29th. Businessman false corruption allegations against naval ships. Model houses for young Nigerians coming. Stereotyping of Nigerians as cyber criminals unacceptable. Tinubu. ECOWAS, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso is it poses security threat. Civil society organization. ECOWAS, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso is it poses security threat. Civil society organizations. Nigeria air deal under EFCC investigation. Kiamo. Binani loses. Supreme Court affirms Fintri's election. I will not take leadership award for granted. Governor Alia. No to ethnic-based vigilant groups. No to ethnic-based vigilant groups. Fubara, rough road. Insecurity, no negotiations with bandits. Northwest governors vow. 2 courts give conflicting orders over arrest of Fubara's chief of staff. CBN moves against forest speculation. Hoarding issues fresh guidelines. Nigerian air deal, we've taken this. BBC operators shut down business in Abuja, Ibadan. Malian miner denies ownership of building where explosion occurred. Court refuses to hear University of Calabar professor's bail plea as ICPC investigator testifies. Peers dominate NGX. Market cap drops by 1.07 trillion naira as investors sell off. Nigeria accounts for 10% of 1.8 billion young people globally. Minister. Zamfara governor unveils community protection guards to tackle banditry. FBNH appoints Otedola as chairman. BUA Foods caps stellar FY 2023 performance with 111.5 billion naira PAT. Police bust internet fraud syndicate for swindling Kwara State University students of 60 million naira. 50% of Nigerians seeking asylum in Belgium are from Edo, Lagos. Court issues bench warrant against Fubara's chief of staff. Insecurity. Northwest governors storm Zamfara as Lawal unveils community protection guards. 2024 budget. Ekiti. Government pledges full implementation. Court remands 5 for alleged fish theft. And that's the much we can take from the leadership newspaper this morning. Still is making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning from the leadership newspaper. We'll flip over to Vanguard newspaper. Over 30 feared dead as tanker explodes in Imo Forest. Ekiti, kidnap. No hope for victims as community raises 450,000 naira of 100 million naira ransom. Bandits kidnap 2 sisters in Abuja, demand 30 million naira ransom. Tinubu rejects labeling of Nigerians as corrupt. Naira falls to 1,490 naira per dollar in parallel market. Repairs. Lagos to shut marine bridge for 4 months. EFCC battles religious sect over 13 billion naira money laundering for terrorists. Federal government to reform NYSC, float special bank for youths. Ekiti. School pupils kidnapped. Ondo Amotekun deploys 100 personnel, parades 31 suspects. CBN clamps down on banks, pegs trade assets in forest. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Obaseki meets Wike to secure support for Igadalo. Conflicting court orders over arrest of Rivers Chief of Staff, Ehi. FAAN relocation to Lagos will save us over 500 million naira on travels alone, Kiyamo. Supreme Court affirms Fintri as Adamawa governor. ECOWAS exit, a carefully considered decision. Burkina Faso Prime Minister. Supercomputer picks Nigeria favorites to win AFCON. Internet fraudsters who duped Kaduna students of over 60 million naira arrested. Still on the stories making the headlines on Nigeria's ethnicize zero-sum politics. That's the much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And from the Vanguard newspaper, we'll flip over to the Punch newspaper. Reps order fire service to refund 1.48 billion naira COVID-19 funds. Armed headers killed 10 Benue internally displaced persons. Camp commandant. MBA mobilizes lawyers for 22 appeal court vacancies. Nigeria too complex for central policing. Ex-defense minister. Club plans ICT center in Anambra community to ease CBT exams. Mba directs Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps to fish out Enugu vandals. Obasanjo nearly punched me for canvassing Constitution Amendment. Olani Beku. I paid ransom in 2 tranches to kidnappers. I wasn't rescued. Imo Monarch. Military uncovers 5 million liter stolen crude in rivers. Explosion. Court stops Fubara chief of staff's arrest. EFCC goes after church for receiving 7 billion naira fraud proceeds. Anambra residents laments defecation, refuse fear disease outbreak. Dangote varsity begins. Court slashes Nasarawa protesters bail after 13 days in jail. Benue APC chair rejects award suspension. Abuja, Plateau, Ekiti. Others get new police commissioners. Extend the tertiary education trust fund to private varsities. Vice Chancellor. Cowbellpedia winners rewarded with 5 million naira foreign trip. Newspaper distributors get new chairman. Plateau PDP protests over by-election. Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps deploys 5,300 men. MBA mobilizes lawyers for 22 appeal court vacancies. Education, vital tool for sustainable peace. Sea Dogs. Abia community installs US-based computer programmer as traditional ruler. Lagos vaccinates 484,761 girls against HPV. Makinde gives companies with explosives 72-hour ultimatum. Dangote varsity. We've taken this. Court slashes Nasarawa protesters bail after 13 days in jail. Military uncovers 5 million liter stolen crude in rivers. Insecurity. Zamfara governor unveils security outfit. Federal government to install CCTV on 10 mainland bridge. Umai. Lagos state government to invest 550 billion naira in roads. Others. That's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper this morning. And from the Punch newspaper, we'll flip over to the Sun newspaper. The Sun Awards nomination. Pleasant surprise. Awakalo. Budget. Lagos to invest 550.6 billion naira on infrastructure in 2024. Tinubu rejects stereotyping of Nigerians over cyber crimes. Group appeals to President Tinubu to cushion effect of economic hardship. IPOB frowns at February 8th resumption of Kanu's case. Governor Mufwan constitutes Security Committee to end killings. Reps order Federal Fire Service to refund 1.48 billion naira COVID funds. Tinubu will inaugurate Abuja rail track to mark 1 year in office. Wike. Shake up in police as PSC appoints new commissioners for states. Reps set date. Reps set December 2025 deadline for completion of Constitution review. Budget. Lagos to invest 550. We've taken this. Governor Mufwang constitutes Security Committee to end killings. PDP won't form alliance with any political party, but they judge. Labour Party will give Edo people best candidate Abure boost. Rivers crisis. Fubara must keep to peace deal signed with Tinubu. Tony Okocha. Zamfara launches own security outfit. Ekiti killings. Be alive to your responsibilities. Secure people's lives. Showumi tells governors. How Nigeria can get out of the woods under Tinubu. Salis. NIMC distributes more computers to states to fast-track NIN enrollment. Kidnapping. Bad roads crippling our business. Oil transporters lament. CBN moves to reduce banks' FX risk exposure. Emir endorses the alternative bank in Kanu. Governor Mufwang constitutes security. We've taken this. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Sun newspaper this morning. The Sun Award winners 2023, Aliko Dangote, Man of the Year. Goldberg, Live, and Zag fortify Super Eagles for Angola showdown. Curbing tobacco use among the youths. Enugu's 046 Arena and Entertainment Park. The relocation of CBN, FAAN departments. NEMA demands DNA test to confirm 4 months pregnancy. Uproar over cattle grazing. NSCDS intensifies fight against bandits, others, enemies of progress. Oyo roads in focus. Smoking out criminals. Ohosala local government boss leaves physically challenged persons. That's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. Still on the stories making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning. From the Sun newspaper, we'll flip over to the Daily Post newspaper. Para reads Riot Act to substandard private school operators. Stakeholders worry as TB scourge fails to abate in Nigeria. Biafra. BRGIE begins self-referendum voting for all Igbos, reveals details. Review road policies to curtail insecurity, infrastructure decay. NARTO begs federal government. Alleged blasphemy, tension as angry residents burn down neighbor's house, car, Castena. Nigeria Air, EFCC investigating ex-aviation minister, Serika Kiyamo. AGF, Fabemi asks leaders, youth to join fight against corruption. Cyril Mbifon. Court refuses to hear University of Calabar professor's bail plea as ICPC investigator testifies. No going back on FAAN relocation to Lagos, Kiyamo. 50% of Nigerians seeking asylum in Belgium from Edo, Lagos. BBC documentary, YouTube removes TB Joshua's Emmanuel TV channel. Fire raises popular Lagos church. Household of David, few hours to annual conference. And that's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. From the Daily Post newspaper, we flip over to the Nation newspaper, combining chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and brachytherapy cures cervical cancer. NIMC deploys more gadgets to states for easier NIN enrollment. Prospective corps members to undergo COVID-19 tests. Akpabio pledges National Assembly's support to complete East-West Road. Federal government to save the 500 million naira annually from FAAN relocation, says Kiyamo. Supreme Court dismisses Binani's appeal, affirms Fintri's victory. Edo poll. Obaseki moves to reconcile with Wike ahead PDP primary. Ibadan blast. Makinde signs executive order on explosive materials handling. Edo Labour Party justifies selling nomination forms for 30 million naira. Ohuyeye begins cancel tour for Ondo poll. Still on the stories making headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning. Court grants a his motion against police. Court orders arrest of Fubara's COS. 5 others. YouTube removes TB Joshua's Emmanuel TV channel. Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps arrests 6 suspects over racketeering of petroleum products. Time to temper the headlines on Nigeria's security challenges by Bayo. CBN cracks down on banks' foreign currency risk. Aisha Buhari welcomes grandchild as Tinubu's wife, Nana Chetima, visit former First Lady. While we are proposing 400,000 naira minimum wage labor, Senate summons Central Bank of Nigerian Governor Cardoso over free fall of naira. WTODG Okonjo-Iweala gotchis over 3-year-old Nigerian girl who dressed like her. And that's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. From the Nation newspaper, we'll flip over to This Day newspaper. Nigeria, 105 years ago, Peter Obi pays condolence visit to Nabeha. Our Kadria family says it's heartbreaking. Chetima, federal government committed to enhance infrastructure for businesses at Lekki Free Zone. Tinubu plays labeling, blanket stereotyping of Nigerians over cyber crimes, corrupt practices. Femi Otedola emerges chairman of FBN Holdings. Tinubu, we've taken this. Lukobri confirms negotiations to end $1.3 billion OML 245 dispute. 1999 Constitution Review. House receives 40 bills for amendment. You are listening to newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. We'll now go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
Oh yes, Omunya, are you ready? Omunya Citywide Crusade. Oh God, you oh God, you pop. Obodo niile gbara ya okirikiri gaji ịhụta mbitụ aka Chineke n'ụzọ ga-adị ebube dịka evangelist John Oka ga-atụ dam n'Ụmụnya iji wee chịkọba ọgbakọ oziọma mkpụrụ abalị abụọ ga-ada ụda akpọrọ 2 Nights of Solution abalị abụọ iji wee weta ogbo nyere nsogbu gị niile isiokwu ya bụ Enough is enough. Tell Ahab Elijah is here. O zuola, ọ tọọla ya, amụghị nwa gị ahụ atọọla ya, ọnọdụ ụbịam o mebiri machi ekwe gị ahụ atọọla ya, nrịanrịa ahụ na-emekpa gị ahụ, nsogbu nke ezinụlọ, abụmọnụ, alụghị di maọbụ nwaanyị n'oge kwesịrị, ha niile ga-abịa n'isi njedebe maka na eluigwe esugo stam. Cheta na ọ bụ Apostle Dr. John Oka ka Chineke ga-ejikwara ngwa ọrụ n'ọgbakọ oziọma a. Ọ ga-amalite n'abalị 23 wee ruo n'abalị 24 nke ọnwa Febrụwarị afọ a. Ọ ga na-amalite ma o jiri ọkara gafeta elekere 4 nke mgbede n'ụbọchị ndị a niile, ebe ọ ga n'ime Ebunilo ndị ichie họl dị n'Ụmụnya. Maka ajụjụ kpọọ 0703 3881 221. Kpọrọ ndị ezinụlọ gị, kpọrọ ikwu na ibe gị, bịa sonye n'ihe omume a maka na Elijah nọ n'ebe a. Jizọs bụ eze.
Biko nwanne m bịakene ka m jụọ gị, kedu ebe m ga-enweta ezigbo MC maka mmemme nna?
Ị na-achọ ezigbo MC maọbụ DJ na agbamakwụkwọ go, agbamnkwụ go, child dedication go, imepe ụlọ, ọ bụzi ụmụ akwụkwọ na-eme graduation maọbụ end of the year party. Shaka bịa na mmemme ahụ. Ị mara na I love you bụ Selekunse. Kpọọ ya n'akara ekwentị ndị a
09022670547 maọbụ WhatsApp 07030366888.
ụmụnne shaka.
Ọdịmma obodo. Onye goziri ezinụlọ ezigbo obodo. Family is the foundation of the society. Na ọdịmma ezinụlọ n'ebe ọ na-adị 103.5 FM bụ ebe anyị ga na-etinye anya n'okwu gbasara ezinụlọ.
Papa, mama na ụmụaka maka ịmata ihe gbasara ezinụlọ sonyelu Classic Lady.
Emenarị Classic Lady
N'ebe ọ na-adị 103.5
FM n'oge ọdịmma ezinụlọ. Nke na-abịara gị Tuesday na Friday 3 to 4 p.m.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebonadi FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be, Street Report is here to make sense of it all. Street Report is hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifan, as Anambra the Force, every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on as Street Reports unfolds in your face. On Emas Nebona the corner 24/7, 24/7.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we're live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comments on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. We are on to this day newspaper. INEC pledges to make voting more accessible to persons with disability. Stock market gains 14.44 trillion naira in January 2024. Konga hosts monthly live auction event, offers discounts. Akon boss, Nigeria needs data to meet global standard. Interswitch, OPay set to enhance digital payment experience. Multi-choice to redefine business. Tech experts, SciTech to boost managed security service in Nigeria, West Africa. EFCC share, religious body laundering money for terrorists. CBN issues fresh requirements to mitigate foreign currency risk. CBN issues fresh requirements to mitigate foreign currency risk. Supreme Court affirms election of Fintri as Adamawa governor. Time to tamper the headlines on Nigeria's anger, disunity, and poverty. Security, economy, top agenda as Senate resumes plenary. And that's the much we can take from this day newspaper this morning. From this day newspaper, we'll flip over to Nigerian Tribune. Edo government secures 228 billion naira agreement to reconstruct Benin-Asaba Expressway. 12 suspects in Gobe police net for various criminal offenses. Lagos community. Cross River governors' wives. 12-year-old spelling bee champion becomes MTN Nigeria's one-day CEO. 12-year-old spelling bee champion becomes MTN Nigeria's one-day CEO. 40 bills under consideration for constitutional amendment, says Deputy Speaker. Governor Oborowori suspends Agric Commission stereotyping. Customs e-auction. Winners cut away 190 vehicles from Tinkan Port. Boni, Nembe, Jetty. Fubara commits to ending fire incidents. Youth Ministry partners National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on drug abuse. Man kills self in Ogun over debt. PSC approves appointment posting of 10 police commissioners. Plateau, Lalong cautions against inflammatory comments over Supreme Court verdict. Still on the stories making the headlines on Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Ibadan explosion. I don't own Bodija building. Explosives. Somewhere Yusuf. 6 steps to move on from a relationship. Kidnapping. Bad roads crippling of Southwest 6 NADF collaboration to enhance agriculture, create employment. NAVE redeems 2.9 billion naira 3 series commercial paper issuance. NAVE redeems 2.9 billion naira 3 series commercial paper issuance. Ekiti killings, create local vigilante groups. Coalition charges traditional rulers. 6 tips for introverts to make new friends. Local government administration catalyst to grassroots, and that will also mark the conclusion of all that we have for you on this particular edition of newspaper headlines on Airborne 103.5 FM. We will now flip over to our WhatsApp portal to bring your reactions this morning. From our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message coming from the boss from Okozu, and he says the man to die by hanging for armed robbery. My question is, did they treat politicians like that man? May God help poor people in this country. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message is coming from Ogugwa Kenneth Okuchuku from Umuobanam, Umuobalishi Kingdom, and he says Nigeria is like sheep without shepherd. All the sectors in Nigeria are already collapsed due to corrupt index is in a high rate, both to leaders and citizens. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message. It is coming from Comrade Ibudu from our bag, and he says, congratulations to Super Eagles. We are going to imagine you representing people and they are dying in dozens every day, but what you only do is to sit and condemn it without taking any reasonable action. Enough is enough. If it takes every Nigerian money to fight banditry, kidnapping, Boko Haram, and all sorts of nonsense happening here in Nigeria so far as they mean it, let them do that. Now, person where they alive, they find POB frown over Nnamdi Kanu resumption date for court, and he says it's a welcome development because it is in a country like Nigeria, and for the Biafra referendum is sacrosanct because we have experienced a lot of injustice, killings, incarceration, etc. Okay, may God, and he says, may God help us. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Chinedu Oneka Pastor, and he says the reason behind the relocation of CBN to Lagos is still not clear with Nigerians. And he said we need further clarification based on that. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. It's coming from Christian Okondo from Onitsha, and it says insecurity, no negotiations with bandits. This is not the first time we heard this type of statement, but at last, nothing good will come out of it. Our leaders should stop deceiving the citizens of this country. If the leaders are tired of their work, let them step down gently like people that are from good families than trying to do what is above of their powers. Nigeria is drowning in an ocean, but all what our leaders are good for is only false promises that none of them is ready to fulfill. He continued and says the resumption of Kanu's case is not what any sensible man would like to hear because Nigerian government has no case with Nnamdi Kanu. Nigeria should respect her court order before any other thing. Can Nigeria tell me that she is ready to obey and respect the outcome of the case if Nnamdi Kanu happens to win her in the next court hearing? It will be better for Nigeria to release Nnamdi Kanu than begging for points to jail him. If proper care is not taken, the issue of Nnamdi and Nigeria may bring what may not contain. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message. This message is coming from Chike Obata from Obni Titi Okozu, and he says, please, I plead to federal government, let them create state police. They call, okay, everyone has been calling for so long now. No negotiation for, according to northern governors, can they do it? Bandits still operating in Abuja upon all Wike is saying. I understand now that there's hidden plan on Plateau State. Nnamdi Kanu case fixed on February. Federal government should do fast for all they are doing to release onion. Kudos to YouTube. P2B is a man without tribe. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Waluto Patrick from Monteje, and he says, I am yet to understand what interest the North have in those West African countries that have visited ECOWAS sometimes ago when military juntas took over those countries in coup d'etat, and Tinubu, as the chairman of ECOWAS, wanted to swing into action so as to return civil rule to those countries. It was this northern group that kicked against that. now that these countries have exited ECOWAS. It is yet this northern group that is tackling Tinubu over the exit of those countries from ECOWAS. I therefore urge the North to come out clean, tell Tinubu and the entire people of this country their interest in those countries. I equally want to urge the NLC, TUC to ensure that they represent workers very well during the forthcoming minimum wage negotiation, and they should know that they, workers, will not accept anything less than 400,000 naira per month. This is coming from Maloto Patrick from Monteja. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. It's coming from Valentine Edene from Umpo, and he says, as CBN is relocating to Lagos, let other ministries move to different states as well. At least one ministry in each state, Abuja, and it will be semi-separation of power, and it will help to achieve restructuring and all of that. And for Biafra referendum, only can solve. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Pauline Wizu from Onitsha. House of Rep to review Nigerian Constitution is a welcome development, but can they do it without lobbying? And this is not the first time they are brainwashed. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message. It's coming from John Ume from Okozo, and he says, please, can somebody tell me why Tinubu swore an oath that he will protect the lives and properties of Nigerians on May 29 last year when he is not capable of doing so? How can Tinubu be parading himself as president while Nigerians are being killed every day, when he was telling Nigerians that it was his time to rule? He should have also told us that it was his time to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. No government worth its salt will be watching its citizens being killed by the terrorists that have overpowered them. The truth is that Tinubu has absolutely nothing to offer this country, and that is why a dollar is now 1,500 naira. Insecurity on the highest level, prices of goods skyrocketing every day. Honestly, nothing seems to be working again in Nigeria under this irresponsible government. John Ume, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Amechi Aniene from Uru Ogidi, and he says, let our leaders lead us well and tell Nigerians truth. I pray that Super Eagles will win Angola tomorrow. And he says, let federal government release Nnamdi Kanu so that there will be peace in Southeast. Happy New Month. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will now flip over to our SMS portal to bring you more reactions. From our SMS portal this morning, we have this message coming from Honorable Onyedika Osakwe, and he says, a man that his house is burning is chasing buffalo in the forest, and the nation is in turmoil, and our president is only busy sending condolence messages, and is only planning to jettison to overseas for mere frivolous issues. Nigeria has become a mocking stock, and Tinubu did not want to listen to yearnings of the people. The nation is heading to mere anarchy as all the states and sections is boiling. The likes of Wike is almost those that pose a threat to this nation. The Aburu-like governance is one of our major problems. I'm sorry for Nigeria. He continued and says, if the government in power is not aware of all these killings and kidnapping taking place in Nigeria, we are surprised that the nation had now become a battlefield and there is nothing to ameliorate the plight of the dying citizens. And what is the duty of our president if he can fold his hands and allow people to perish? He is only active when money is involved. It is now pertinent for Nigerians to take proactive measures since we did not have a government. Okay, and he says, nobody to save us. How is the mighty falling? APC is after position to occupy in order to approve and share money. It's okay. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Ticket won in 1989 when Nigeria late midfielder Maestro Sam Okoroji slumped in the field and died instantly, and the other was in Kano under JJ Okocha as captain and the then Super Eagles. So these two defeats was a big blow to Nigeria then. Now it's our opportunity to pay them back with our own coin. God bless Super Eagles. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Austin Ezamaka. We have a message coming from Mayor Onyenji Koka. And it says, what is our government doing with those money being budgeted, those one being borrowed, all of them were being shared? Why do I say so? At Ninth Mile and Soka Road, up till now, no sign of anything. Look at Uromi or Abede Road in Edo State, Otukpo, and he says Makodi Road in Benue, and other road in Nigeria. What we need is transparent work, not too much English to squander money. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mayor Onyenji Koka. Now we have a message. It says court sentence 3 for fish theft. It's a welcome development from Sir White. Me say, okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Mayor Onyenji Koka. And he says, what is our government doing with those? Okay, it's the same message we've got. We've gotten this message from you before, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It is coming from Ikechukwu, Wingate Ikechukwu Nwakeze from Mokozo, and he says, killing of innocent souls and loss of property has become the order of the day in Nigeria, and may God help us to survive this poor state of insecurity. Wingate Ikechukwu Nwakeze from Mokozo. Thank you so much. From our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message coming from Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara from Owerri, and she says, any leadership that is not laid on a sound moral foundation collapses sooner than later. The truth of the matter is that this government is bereft of ideas of how to manage the complexities of our problem or kudrum. The economic indices are so revealing, and I ask, where do we go from here? Okay, thank you so much. And on our WhatsApp portal, we have this message. It's coming from Kenneth Ndubisi Okafor from Umunachi, and it says, Lagos Commissioner of Police orders kidnapped victims to stop paying ransom. I think when the security agencies perform their duties, the comment or order not to pay ransom should not come. Government and security agencies are not performing their tasks in terms of security. However, it is unfortunate that a mother of 11 wanted to sell her 2 sons for 1.8 million naira because of hardship and suffering of the family. Is true. This one was discovered. What about the others yet to be discovered? The only way to solve solution is to cure what causes the problem. If suffering of the masses are not alleviated, this should not stop. This should not stop. Ndubisi, Kenneth Ndubisi Okafor from Umunachi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is the spot where we'll call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way weekdays in the morning. Once it's 7 o'clock, so keep a date. And don't touch the dial of Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Once it's 8:20, we'll be back with Midday Splash. Till we meet again, I am Martin. Have a fabulous morning.
Family is the foundation of the society. Now, never 103.5 FM, wherever I can
Papa, Mama, na ụmụaka maka ịmata ihe gbasara ezinụlọ sonyelu classic lady.
Classic lady.
N'ebe ọ na-adị 103.5
FM. N'oge ọdụmma ezinụlọ. Nke na-abịara 4 p.m.
Biko nwanne m bekene ka m jụọ gị, kedu ebe m ga-enweta ezigbo MC maka mmemme a na-akwado?
Ị ka na-ajụ kpọọ Shaka Shaka, the latest MC in town, ka occasion gị anwa bụrụ ịgba. Ị na-achọ ezigbo MC maọbụ DJ na agbamakwụkwọ go, agbamnkwụ go, child dedication go, imepe ụlọ, ọ bụzi ụmụ akwụkwọ na-eme graduation maọbụ end of the year party. Shaka Shaka bịa na mmemme ahụ. Ị mara na I love Selekuse, kpọọ ya n'akara ekwentị ndị a
09022670547 maọbụ WhatsApp 07030366888.
ụmụnne Shaka Shaka.
Man is so animal. That's why we all have our views on politics. Political View comes to you at Ebonade 103.5 FM with Martin Ifeanyi Chukwumekizie every Monday, 3 o'clock p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's all about the day-to-day activities in the Nigerian political space. Views of political actors from various political parties on political process. Views of labor leaders, and most importantly, your views. Views of debates.
Ndewonu, aka m bụ Mmụta Josephine Ujunwa, abụ m Adị 2024. Ana m asị ka unu na-ege ebe ọ na 103.5 FM Ogidi.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebonade FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be, Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets. In your community, Street report is here with hardcore Martin Ifeanyi Chukwumekizie as Anambra the first every Friday 4:30 p.m. on Ebonade 103.5 FM as Street report.
Obodo eze bụ ebe anyị na-anọ atụgharị uche n'ife gbasara okirikiri ebe anyị bi, omenala, ọdịbendị na nchekwa akpa. Sonyere Somti n'oge ụbọchị Tọzdee ọbụla ka anyị nọkọọ wee tinye ụgwọ ọnụ onye ije nnọọ n'obodo eze ebe ife na-eme.
Health Plus, my health, your health.